From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and these are for you! Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Holy shit, what is that from in the movie? I don't remember that.
You already forgot.
I've already forgotten. Oh my god.
It's the thing he says, like with the scissors. These are for you.
Okay.
Oh my god. So we're talking about 1991's Dead Again, starring Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson, Jacobi, Andy Garcia. So hunky in this movie. Wayne Knight. Totally forgot Wayne Knight was in this movie. And
Newman.
And hello, Newman. And Robin Williams, uncredited, but always happy to see Robin Williams. I swear, is Robin Williams like our most visited actor on this show? I swear to God, Robin Williams keeps coming up over and over and over.
We still have to go into Mrs. Doubtfire and a few others, but yeah, we've seen quite a few of his things.
Yeah, I'm always happy to see him. So this movie was written by Scott Frank, and he went on to write things like Malice and Minority Report, Get Shorty. He's very good at like adapting things. This wasn't adapted. This was an original screenplay, but he also adapted one of my favorites, Out of Sight.
Yep.
Which I think is one of the sexiest movies ever. And then he also did Logan, which came out a couple years ago and was really great. And it's directed by Kenneth Branagh, who before this had done an adaptation of Henry V.
Henry V, yes.
That had got a ton of, I think he'd been nominated for Oscar. So he was like Best Director and Best Actor, and he was getting a lot of like, he's the next Olivier. That was the big thing. And then instead of doing more Shakespeare, he did Dead Again, which is kind of a Hitchcockian Orson Welles-y thriller. Did you see it in the theater?
Yes, I did. I saw it at Crow Canyon Cinemas in San Ramon, of all places.
We were just talking about that off mic because I was just out there this week and drove by the theater, and it is still there. But I don't know who owns it now. I'll have to look it up. That's a whole other thing. Sorry, everybody. And just in case you guys haven't seen Dead Again, it's a really good thriller. It's super fun to watch. We're going to spoil it here because the movie's super old. and you know, so if you haven't seen it and you want to see it without us spoiling it, like I would suggest you maybe pause right now and then go watch it and then come back because it's really fun to not know the twist.
Exactly. There's a couple of good twists in there. And I think this is a kind of movie, I mean, I can't believe it's been 28 years.
It's insane.
Oh my God, we're so old.
It makes me feel so old.
So freaking old. But they're starting to. I think like a movie like Knives Out.
Yes.
Is sort of along this, like an adult, like not mean sexy, but like just a thriller that's just about, you know, it has a mystery and like what's going on. And it's really well done. It was just, I think it's the same year as Silence of the Lambs, if I'm not mistaken.
That seems right. Yeah, 91. Yeah. Silence of the Lambs. That's right.
Because I remember I would say to people, like, they're like, should I see this movie? I'm like, I've liked this almost as much as Silence of the Lambs. I said it over and over again.
Yes.
So I like this almost as much as Silence of the Lambs, which is actually a big compliment because I hugely love Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs is one of my all-time favorite movies, and we can definitely do it on the show sometime, but I don't know if I could talk about it objectively.
Right.
But this one played at my movie theater. I worked at the Festival Cinemas in Walnut Creek, which was part of the chain for Crow Canyon Festival, before that Regency, and Contra Costa were all one chain. And so I worked at the Walnut Creek Theater, and this movie played there for quite a while. And this movie was actually really popular. This always fascinates me. It was 3 weeks at number one at the box office. And like you said, they don't make movies kind of like this anymore. Like, it's for adults. It's, I don't know, there's not like it's not a star-studded cast. Like Kenneth Branagh was like dubbed the next Olivier, but he wasn't like a huge star. Emma Thompson was like unknown at this point. Robin Williams was uncredited. You know, Jacobi, people are like, oh, that guy. Like, you know, this wasn't a thing, but it was a popular movie. It did really well. And in case you guys don't know, it's Emma Thompson plays a woman who loses her memory, and Kenneth Branagh is a private investigator that's trying to help her figure out who she is, and it involves like past lives. They go to a hypnotist, and she starts like telling stories about like stuff from the 1940s. So they play like dual roles. So they play in the 40s. They play Roman and Margaret Strauss, and Roman he was put to death for her murder. Supposedly he killed her with these scissors, very beautiful looking scissors, actually. And then in modern time, he's playing a private investigator named Mike Church, and he's calling her Grace, but she doesn't really have a name. And it kind of goes between like color and black and white as it's telling these two different stories and how they intersect, and kind of the idea that the past really does haunt you. You know, what you learn in the past life, you bring it to the next, and things like that.
Right. It believes that.
Yes. And I have to say, like, 20-year-old Sonia was very into the idea of soulmates and reincarnation and all of that. I really wanted to believe that's true. I don't know if I believe that stuff anymore, but
But I did too. And I have to say also, it's so fun to watch this. I mean, first of all, Kenneth Branagh doing an LA accent, an American accent. I mean, it takes a little getting used to, but he's really good. I think he's great.
I thought they did really well with the accents.
Yeah, I think Emma Thompson looks beautiful.
Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful in this. She's so beautiful in this movie. I mean, in the I say present, but it's 90. She's beautiful in the 90s. And she's so gorgeous in the 40s. I love 40s stuff, so
me too.
All the 40s stuff like really does it for me. They're all just like, he's super handsome, she's super beautiful, beautiful clothes, like the hair with like the wave. I'm like, oh, I just love it. Should we just go through it from beginning to end?
Yeah. So she's at an orphanage. And the Grace character, and she's a mute, and she doesn't have any memory. And the nuns, thank God there are nuns taking people like this in.
Yeah.
And that she's not at the mental hospital. But there's what is Kenneth Branagh's character's name?
Mike Church, with a name like that.
Mike Church. So Mike grew up at the orphanage, and they call him because he's now. Is it a gumshoe? He's a detective, but he's like he's a freelance kind of detective. He doesn't work for the police. What is the word I'm thinking of? He's like a private investigator.
Yeah.
And but he went to that orphanage for a while, and they're saying to him, "We have no more room here. Somebody needs to find this girl. They need to find out where she's from. We don't want to put her at the mental hospital because she won't be safe there." And he says, "Okay, well, I'll try to help you." And of course, she can't talk. He's trying to help her out. He takes her to the hospital anyway, the mental hospital,
and
then he realizes. And it's exaggerated crazy land. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So of course she has him move in with him, and they're a very chaste relationship. And at one point he meets up with what is Robin Williams' character's name?
His name is Cozy Carlisle.
Cozy Carlisle. Oh my God, Robin Williams. And I said this in Facebook on just my personal page, but Robin Williams is so freaking great in this movie.
He is. So Robin Williams at this point was really known for comedy. This was his I think this was like a step in him. Like he was like dipping his toe in like going a little darker.
Yes.
Like he was mainly like, I'm the voice of the genie in Aladdin, and Mork, and not that he wasn't great. Like he was doing like The World According to Garp, and a lot of other movies, but he was mainly like a comedy guy. And I think people forget, like Robin Williams was like, wasn't he trained at like Juilliard? Like
with Christopher Reeve,
yeah,
they were roommates.
Actor, dude. He can do shit, and he plays a pretty small role as a former psychiatrist that Mike Church tracks down to award him some money that he got from like a patient who passed away. And,
right.
And he's so funny in like there's like funny things and then really smart and interesting things that he said. Like the whole, like the minute like Mike Church is like, "Are you Cozy Carlo?" He's like, "Fuck off, I'm on my break." Like just like the way he is instantly, or
I'll
go ahead.
I was going to say, because the first time they meet, this is the first time they're meeting each other. So he's giving him some money from a former patient. And it turns out that he lost his license because he was sleeping with his patients, which is not a great thing. But
I like the way he puts it, though. Okay, so I slept with a patient or two. It's not like
I was helping them.
It's not like I didn't care about them.
Exactly. And it's how people justify these things. But
Creep.
he notices that Kenneth Branagh is like trying to like not smoke, like he's being very fidgety, and he can see it right away in him. And this is what I always remember: is he looked at him and said, "Look, here's the thing: either you're going to be a smoker or not a smoker. There's nothing in between. And pick one you're going to be, and just be that."
Yes.
And when I quit smoking, that's the thing that went through my head, like that exact thing. Like, I'm just not a smoker anymore. And guess what? Not a smoker anymore because of Robin Williams' character.
Thank you, Cozy Carlisle. That's how good he is as an actor. He could play a psychiatrist and get people to stop smoking.
And I am convinced somebody from Good Will Hunting remembered this performance and said he needs to be the psychiatrist in Good Will Hunting because he's too goddamn good. I'm telling you, he totally, every scene he's in, he's fantastic.
Yeah. I love seeing him every time he pops up.
Yeah.
So he does do that. So she's staying with Mike Church now, and every night she's waking up in these crazy nightmares, and we're seeing like kind of glimpses of it. It's like someone holding up the scissors, and they say like, "These are for you," and like stab her, and she wakes up screaming. And then they place an ad in the newspaper with her photo. And actually, I think this is really funny. They get like every creep in LA is like calling and trying to like describe maybe the ring she has or if she has tattoos. And he's like, this is better than dating, like her online or what do you say? Personal ads. This is better than personal ads. I almost said online dating like that was a thing in 91.
Not yet.
But so that was funny. So then Derek Jacobi shows up and he's a hypnotist. And he also runs a
character.
Yeah, and he also has an antique shop, which I think is really funny. Like there's this thing where he shows up at Mike Church's house and he's just scoping out the whole area. He's like looking at everything and he's like, nice things. It's such a pity. Like that it's in like Mike's like junky apartment or whatever. But she really likes him immediately and he hypnotizes her and she goes back to like her past life and she starts describing this relationship between Roman and Margaret Strauss, and she's telling it from an observer point of view that he asked her to tell, so you don't know
who she is.
Yeah, the truth that you just yeah, well, I'm like, we're spoiling, so
yeah.
You assume that she's Margaret. Like,
right.
why would you assume any different? Basically, she looks just like Margaret. You just instantly go that way. But she tells this story, and it's all in black and white, so you can tell, like, are you in the present or are you in the past?
Right.
But I read that they actually shot it in color, but I guess it really confused people, so then they made it black and white, which
how stupid are people that they can't tell? That's
like,
now in the 1940s, but okay.
That's fine. It works.
It's fine. It doesn't distract, and I think it actually kind of works. They said that the costume people were really pissed off because they would have picked different colors if they know it was going to be shot in black and white because it looks different.
Yes.
So, but she's a pianist in a past life. They're in Los Angeles, by the way, and then he owned one of the houses was the house for the original Batman in like 1966.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was looking up some trivia, and he played a guy. His character was from Germany, and he was saved by the Nazis by this family, and it's this woman and her son that live in the house with them. And it turns out the woman had a crush on him, Roman.
Yes. And
he rebuffed her advances and said, "No, I'm into Margaret, my wife and shit."
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah. And then there's a reporter. Is that his or detective?
And
reporter?
Andy Garcia plays a reporter named Gray Baker. And he comes to their house on their wedding day. He's like someone's plus one, I guess. And he meets Margaret and he's like instantly smitten with her, even though she's like in a wedding dress and clearly like
getting married.
Yeah, not going to be interested. And he's like, hello. Still like,
and it's Andy Garcia, so you're like, hello.
I know, really. She's like, wish I had met you earlier. He's very, very handsome in this movie.
He's so handsome in this movie. It's such a great choice.
In the scenes in the past. In the scenes in the
Right.
present, not so much. He's totally repulsive and the best anti-smoking ad I've ever seen.
And that's my friend Lisa. That's when she quit smoking, when she saw that. So they meet in the past, and then they have this kind of troubled relationship. And Roman thinks that she's sleeping with the Andy Garcia character. And she's like, no, what are you, crazy? And eventually they have this argument, and she's found stabbed to death by the scissors.
Yes. And
Roman is holding her body, and he's covered in her blood. So they think it's a murder. He murdered her, and he is convicted of her murder, and he is then executed. And when he is ready for his execution, he says something to the Andy Garcia character, but he whispers it in his ear, but we don't know what it is.
Yes. He also gives this speech where he says, "This, Mr. Baker, is all far from over," which they used in the trailers all the time. It was like one of their big selling points.
Yes.
The trailer was in front of every movie. That's how I know.
You must have a weird memory for some movies, man.
I most certainly do.
Yeah.
This was one of them. "These are for you" was a running joke at the movie theater. Like anytime, Sonia, I need more like Junior Mints or whatever, you go get them, bring it down. "These are for you." Movie theater humor.
Oh my God.
Such a dork. Anyway, that's why the show's called Dorking Out.
Exactly.
'Cause I'm a dork.
So Mike puts an ad in the paper, and he realizes most of them are lunatics trying to sign up. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, is a very young, handsome Campbell Scott.
Yes, Campbell Scott.
Who was in Dying Young that year. Do you remember that movie with Julia Roberts?
We need to put that one on the list.
That's a fucked up movie. We need to talk about that.
So fucked up.
It's so messed up.
It was like peak Julia Roberts, though.
My sister was an extra in the movie.
Oh, really?
In a dance scene. And she said Julia Roberts was a real pain in the ass. But it was like when she was young.
This does not surprise me.
No.
Julia Roberts had her like peak Julia Roberts hair too. She had this like amazing Julia Roberts hair. It was beautiful. Anyway, go ahead.
She's always a movie star. Like let's be clear. So anyway, Campbell Scott shows up. "Hey, this is my fiance. I'm taking her with me now. Bye."
Yeah.
And Kenneth Branagh quickly realizes this is fake.
Yes.
And actually, it's a very funny scene.
Yes.
Like he tries to take her away. And Campbell Scott turns out he's a kung fu expert. And he fights him off.
I do love that scene.
I love that scene. He goes, "Does he look like you know karate?"
Yeah.
It's a very funny scene.
Yeah,
he gets away with her.
Yeah, because Mike Church jumps on Campbell Scott, like just throws his whole body on him to stop him. And then Campbell Scott turns around and it turns out he knows like karate and just kicks his ass. His ass. And then, Emma Thompson runs in and tries to like, "Mike, are you okay?" And he's like, does that guy look like he knows kung fu? Like he totally beat his ass. It was pretty funny.
It's very funny. But that's when they realize the stakes are high. Like what's going on here?
Yes.
They go back to getting more information, and it turns out, I guess, is this where we start spoiling? I mean, this is well, first of all, so Kenneth Branagh, she starts to worry about him, thinking like he's the problem, that he's arranging all this.
She's seen a picture. She saw a picture, and she looks just like Margaret, and he looks just like Roman. And so their current, in the present day, their story is starting to mirror a little bit the one in the 40s. And she's like, this happened to Roman and Margaret. This happened to Roman to Margaret. And his whole thing is, I'm not Roman. I'm not Roman, this whole thing.
Right. And she's like, well, I don't know. You stabbed me last time. So I'm going to take my space here. Yeah. But then he says, okay, you know what? I'll go back too. I'll go back and I'll get I'll get hypnotized.
I want to say one more scene. I want to mention one more scene. Yeah. So there's a scene where like they're kind of arguing in his apartment, and he's like, I'm not Roman, but if you're scared of me, like here. And he like goes through the house and he starts grabbing all the scissors, which by the way, he has a lot of scissors in his apartment.
For a single guy?
I know. I was like, dude, why do you have like He has like
Well,
4
scissors.
pairs of scissors or something. And like, I think he gives her a gun too. And like, put it under your
Yes, he does.
pillow. And if I try to come in here, you could shoot me. And like, they're fighting. And, and then she starts crying and he's hugging her. And then he says, I would never hurt you, Margaret. And like, the music goes, duh. And it's actually a really scary scene, I think, because you really think like, holy shit, like these things are merging and he might hurt her. But anyway, it's a really crazy scene.
So they go back to the antique shop / hypnotist palace.
Yes.
And he gets hypnotized.
Yes.
He gets hypnotized. And it turns out he's Margaret.
Yes.
He was Margaret. And then she was Roman. So it's a gender switch, which is very progressive for 1991, I would say. Because there's no homophobic jokes told about it. I mean, they just are like, oh, okay, that was what our deal was. Because at this point, they realize they love each other, too.
Yes.
But they're just like, all right, that's cool. And he finds, help me out, because this is where I started getting confused with the movie. I'm trying to recall it. And Derek Jacobi, we find out that he turns out to be the little boy at the house.
Yes.
Who looked like an evil little kid, like in an
totally
Alfred Hitchcock
did.
movie.
I was like, how come the cops didn't question that kid immediately? He looks like a murderer.
He's straight out of Alfred Hitchcock's idea of a child.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like looks shifty and that they're up to no good. And I guess, did he have a stutter when he was a kid?
Yes.
Okay, so he had a stutter when he was a kid.
That's how he learns hypnotism, because he used hypnotism to cure his stutter.
Okay, you're bringing all my memories back. I used to see this movie all the time.
Yes.
I just haven't seen it in a really long time. But so there's this scene where they're going back to, they find her, they figure out her name, and her real name is Catherine Pearson or something,
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Like the one where it's sharp and the other one it's Pearson. Like there's a lot of knife scissor kind of wordplay going on here. They go to her apartment. It turns out she's an artist, and all of her art is like scissors. Which is a weird.
It's like she's obviously been thinking about this for a while. Like it's like paintings and sculptures, and she has like a table that like a glass table she's made, and there's like scissors that like hold up the table, and a lot of crazy scissor shit. Yes, and he goes there, and Derek Jacobi shows up, and that's when we realize that. He realizes that she's who she was, and that she might figure out that he's the one that actually killed Margaret because Kenneth Branagh rejected his mother. Yes. And that upset him so much that he's the one that actually stabbed Margaret, and then basically in a weird way framed Roman. Yes. And then Roman took the fall. Which that part I still don't understand. Like, no, it doesn't make any sense. Like, Roman knows he didn't do it, but he probably has a really good idea who did it. I don't know if he's like taking the fall because he's like, Margaret's dead and I don't give a shit anymore, and he feels like an obligation to Inga and Frankie because they saved him from the Nazis. So there's a little bit of that obligation. And I think, maybe he loved her so much that he's just like, fuck it, I'll be dead, I'll be with her. Yeah. Maybe we'll hang out in 40 years from now. We'll laugh all about all this. I don't know. 40, 50 years later, it'll be a lark. Yeah. Remember that time that you thought I murdered you with scissors? Good times. Yes. And I love this scene because. So he gave her a gun. I'm sorry, Derek Jacobi. What's his character's name? I keep saying Derek Jacobi. Well, he's Frankie. He's a grown-up Frankie. So Frankie gives Margaret the gun, or Grace the gun, whatever we want to call her. Catherine. Gives her Catherine. She gives her a little baby gun, and then Kenneth Branagh shows up, and she thinks he's dangerous, so she shoots at him. Mm-hmm. And then Frankie shows up and he's like twirling his mustache like, oh, right. Yeah. Saved me the effort. Thank you. This murder I committed 50 years ago. Yeah. I'm about to cover it up right now. And they have like the knives and the guns are pointing at each other. And then all of a sudden he just starts stuttering. He says, I, for one, can't imagine what happens next. Yeah, he's like, I can't wait to find out what happens next or something. Which is a great moment. Yeah.
But he does it with a stutter. Yeah.
There's actually really, I want to mention the score too. There's a really, really good score in this movie. And like, it really I don't know, it feels like an old fashioned thriller score. And it really like sells those moments. So like he does the whole like, I for one can't wait to find out what happens next. And then the score just gets like really big. And there's kind of this like slow motion brawl, basically, where like, he goes to like stab someone and she stabs someone with the scissors, and like all this stuff is going on, and it's cutting to the past and showing the present. It's really well done.
It's really well done. And then he falls and lands on a scissor sculpture. That's how he goes.
That's some serious like 90s shit right there. Like that he dies. Like, get it, everybody? He gets impaled on a giant pair of scissors.
Much like Kiefer Sutherland in The Lost Boys, when he's impaled with the antlers.
Yes.
He's impaled by scissors. And that's the end. That's the end. We forgot to mention there's a great scene where he meets up with Andy Garcia in the present day, who's now at an old folks home, and was smoking so much that he has that thing in the trachea thing, and he smokes out of the hole in his neck. And that's when Kenneth Branagh says, "I've quit smoking."
Yeah. There's
no, thank you.
I actually love, that whole scene is actually really great. So he finds him at an old folks home, and the nurse says, "Look, he's going to ask you, whatever you do not give him a cigarette. Do not let him smoke." And he's like, "Yeah, okay, I won't," or whatever. And then he sees him. And of course he's got the thing where he has to hold up to his voice box, right? So he's like, "I talk like this." And he's got the hole in his throat or whatever. And like immediately he's like, "Do you have a cigarette? Give me a cigarette." And then he just harasses the shit out of him until he finally is like, "Fuck, just take a cigarette." Like, "I want a cigarette." It just happens.
And that's how he smokes it.
Yeah, and then he smokes it through the hole in his neck, and it's so gross. And then Mike's like, "I just gave up. Like, I'm not smoking anymore. I quit."
But what did he say? Because he asked him, what did Roman say? And did he kiss him?
Yeah,
Is that what Roman did?
He said he kissed me. The bastard kissed me, or something. He didn't. And then he asked him, like, "Do you think he killed Margaret?" And he said, "At the time, I thought he did, but now I do not think he did." And then he's the one who says, like, "You should talk to Inga or Frankie, because they know everything that happened in the house." So then Mike goes to talk to Inga, because he has now figured out that Frankie and Inga are the hypnotist and his mother that's like hiding in a back room. And then Inga tells him everything, because she just couldn't carry it around anymore.
Right.
And then Frankie kills his own mother.
Right. He smothers her with the pillow.
Yeah. It's super awful. I'm like, what an asshole. What a bad son.
He's an asshole, isn't he?
What a dick.
He's a dick. But it's a great movie. It's a really fun movie. There's no wasted scenes. No. And if they avoid that thing that they were trying to do at the time, it's like, if it's an adult thriller, well, we have to have the sex scene and have a butt shot and this and that. It's none of that. It's like they have a scene where they're having tea and, and the tea is spilled and they go, "Oh." Yeah. And she's wearing very 90s clothes, like very shapeless, big.
Yeah, she's wearing his clothes.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm like, she looks really great in his clothes.
But then they show her in the 40s, and Emma Thompson be banging that body. She looks amazing.
She looks amazing. She's so beautiful in those scenes. I mean, she's beautiful in general, but like in the 40s, like just with the hair and the dresses and all that, she's super beautiful.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I loved it so much at the time. I saw it many, many, many times, and I was super happy to rewatch it. And it had been a long time. And it's so crazy to me that Kenneth Branagh was like, he was Shakespeare guy. So he did this, but he did Henry V before that. And then he did Much Ado About Nothing.
Right.
And he did Love's Labor Lost. He was like a Shakespeare guy, but he did this. And then I'm like, and then he went on to direct like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, or, he also did Hamlet. He did a really great version of Hamlet. Did you ever see that one?
Oh, yeah, I saw all of them.
Yeah.
They were really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I was in college at the time when they started being popular. Yeah. And he started doing Shakespeare movies, and then she did, I believe, Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah. I love
she wrote the screenplay or co-wrote the screenplay. They were this great power couple from England. And it was such a bummer when they broke up. 'Cause you're just
Total
like,
bummer.
and then you found out it was because, and then he slept with Helena Bonham Carter,
While they were
or he had an
filming.
affair with
Yeah.
her. Yeah, well, they're filming Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But then I think, is it Ray Wise? What's her husband? She married someone.
Well, she was married to Tim Burton.
No, that's Helena Bonham Carter. I'm talking about Emma Thompson. She married a much younger hot guy.
Oh, I don't remember.
And they're still
this.
together. He's an actor, and I think it's Ray Wise is his name. I'm gonna kick myself and
I'm gonna
look it up.
I'll look it up right
Okay.
now. Go ahead. Keep talking.
He's super hot and sexy, and she adopted a couple of kids, and she's now Dame Emma Thompson. He's Sir Kenneth Branagh. They're both doing really well. I think they kind of have a
married
decent.
to someone named Greg Wise.
Greg Wise.
And he
God
played
damn it. Ray Wise, someone
John
else.
Willoughby in Sense and Sensibilities.
Oh,
So
there
he
you
was
go. That's
actually
where
in
she
the-
met him.
Yeah. So there you go. I totally blanked on that.
Yeah. So, but he also does a lot of if you like audiobooks, he's an audiobook narrator. He does a really good job with Planet of the Apes, the original story.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did that for Book versus Movie, and he did a beautiful job with it. It's really, really
nice.
good. It's a cool book too, if you've never read it. But yeah, I think they're both fine. Andy Garcia's great. Robin Williams, R.I.P. It's
know.
just
I'm never
he
going
had
to
so
get
much
over it.
talent.
I'm never going to
No.
get over it. Never.
No.
Every time he shows up, I get a little sad. Even though I'm happy to see him, I get sad.
Yeah. But he, like you said, he was uncredited, and I remember being in the movie theater, and all of a sudden he's on the screen. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
that's Robin Williams.
Well, it was the same thing when we did an episode about Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. We both forgot that he was in it, and he showed up, and we're like, holy shit, it's Robin Williams again.
That's right. We also did that one. Then what did we do? Dead Poet Society.
We
covered.
did Dead Poets. We knew he was in that one, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's always just such a pleasure. I'm like, oh, Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get over it. Let's see. What else did I want to say here? Yeah, so he did. Did you ever see Peter's Friends?
Yeah.
I don't
Not that
remember-
good.
I don't remember liking it that much. It's got such a good cast too, because it's like him and I think Hugh Laurie's in there, Stephen Fry, Emma Thompson, Rita Rudner. Oh my
She
god.
has one of my favorite lines in a movie. It's a dumb movie. It's not very funny, but she plays there are all these friends. I guess it's somebody's funeral that died, and they're
I
all
think
hanging
someone
out.
died and they're all together. It's like a big chill situation.
Exactly. And they're in the British countryside, and Rita Rudner, somebody's American wife, and someone was trying to justify having an affair with a guy who was a real creep. And she just did something like, I'm sure you did wonderful things with his cock, but and then blah, 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 blah. And it was so like, bam, that was funny. But the rest of the movie wasn't as funny.
Yeah. I just think it's so interesting that Kenneth Branagh was like, I'm Shakespeare guy, and then he does this movie, which is clearly not a Shakespeare movie. But then he goes on to things like the live action Cinderella. He did the first Thor movie. And now he's doing like Murder on the Orient Express and stuff like that, which the Murder on the Orient Express, stuff like that makes sense to me for Kenneth Branagh. But like a live action Cinderella or the first Thor, I'm like, what?
He's also in Dunkirk. He's
Yeah.
also in other stuff. I think, he's British.
Yeah.
They just like working.
Yeah.
I think they tend to be more of the worker bees, and like, if this is the gig, then and it pays my mortgage.
Yeah.
Ask Michael Caine. Look at some of his roles.
That's true. Valid
Oh
point.
my God. Oof.
I really like Kenneth Branagh, and I really hope we don't discover that he's like some horrible creep or something, because I like him. I like when he shows up, I'm like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Because I know he's going to be really good. I think he makes interesting choices. I mean, he's made some shitty movies. Remember, he was in The Wild Wild West. Ugh.
That's the one with Will Smith
Yes.
and Kevin Kline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That is a painful. Will Smith gave up The Matrix to make The Wild Wild West. And he says he doesn't sleep well since. Like, he still realizes how dumb that was.
I'm glad he made that choice, because then we get Keanu Reeves in it. But
Oh, absolutely.
Wild Wild West is really, really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. What a waste.
And
What a waste.
it's so bad, it's not even enjoyable to watch.
No.
It's just bad.
And it's got because it's got Kevin Kline, and you love Kevin Kline, and then they have Selma Hayek, and Selma Hayek's amazing, and oh, it's so bad. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're not talking about Wild Wild West. We could
No.
someday. We could, but why put ourselves through that? Do you want to hear about some other movies from 91?
Yes, please.
Okay, we've done a few other 91 movies, so I just kind of picked some movies at random. Backdraft came out in 91. I would need to revisit that one. I remember liking it at the time.
Yeah, I did too, but I wonder if it holds up.
Yeah, I don't know. Bugsy came out in 91.
Oh my God, I loved Bugsy at the time.
I also remember loving Bugsy. I was really into Annette Bening. I thought she was the shit at the time.
I still think she's the shit.
She is the shit.
Yeah.
I know this is one of your favorites. It's one of my favorites too. The Commitments.
Yes, indeed.
I love The Commitments.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, that's one of my like go-to like comfort movies. I enjoy The Commitments very much. My Girl.
God, you guys, the bees. That's the saddest goddamn movie. The saddest goddamn movie.
Oh my God, fuck that movie. No, it's good, but that one played at my theater too, and you could go in and listen to everybody just fucking lose their shit and cry. It was so sad. So sad. Regarding Henry, speaking of Annette Bening.
I liked that movie at the time. It's cheesy as shit.
Yeah.
But it has some good scenes. I like Harrison Ford.
I like Harrison Ford too. Have you seen the preview for the Call of the Wild?
No.
Oh, it's like with Harrison Ford and like a CGI dog, like based on the book. And I saw like a poster for it and I was like, oh, I might want to see that. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, it's a CGI dog.
Oh, no, then.
Yeah, they're trying to make the dog look real. Like, it's not like, oh, and there's Clifford or something. Like, it's like they're trying to make it look like a real dog. But if it was a real dog, I'd probably be interested. But because it's a CGI dog, I'm a little less interested. But I love Harrison Ford. Did you ever see Career Opportunities?
That's a weird John Hughes movie, right?
Yeah, and it's like Jennifer Connelly and Frank Wyland. And they're like locked into like a Target or something overnight.
Frank Wally.
Wally, thank you.
Yeah, he played the guitarist in The Doors.
Yes.
And
right.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. Jennifer Connelly, she was really objectified quite a bit in her younger career. And that one to the T.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
the T being the appropriate letter. They really
to the T and A.
To the T's.
Yes.
Yeah, they really objectify her in this movie. Yeah, it's a very strange movie.
Yeah, I just remember the poster was like basically, do you like boobs? Like I just that's all I remember about the poster was like that she's just stacked. Anyway, Prince of Tides.
Yes, Prince of Tides.
Have you done an episode on that one for book versus movie?
No, you know what? We probably should.
Movie's a fucking bummer. I haven't seen it since the theater. The Fisher King.
I did not like The Fisher King.
Interesting.
I did not. My friend and I. Okay, Lorna. Hi, Lorna. If you're listening, we saw it at the Danville theater.
Yeah.
The one where the mall is in Danville by the. Okay, we left the theater from that movie running to the car screaming because we just hated that movie so much.
Why did you hate it so much?
I didn't get it. I thought it was pretentious. I didn't understand the beats. I didn't get the character. I just didn't get it. I was a dumb kid, or I don't know. I've never tried since then.
Yeah.
But I remember us, like I said, running through the parking lot out of that theater.
Interesting.
I've never done that before.
I had an opposite reaction. I really liked it.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
But now it's a Terry Gilliam movie, right?
Yeah, and fuck this guy.
Yeah, fuck him. But I still might revisit it someday because it's got Robin Williams and it's got Jeff Bridges, and I love Jeff Bridges.
I love everybody in there. I love Jeff Bridges, but I just I don't know, halfway through, I knew this was not going to work for me.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's the thing.
Yeah.
Also, fuck Terry Gilliam. Side note, fuck Terry Gilliam. He's a prick.
Yeah.
Hook came out in 91.
Oh, yeah.
I did not like Hook at all.
It's not good. It's not a good movie.
Other people have like fond memories for it. I think they're younger than us, though.
I think if you were a little kid when that movie came out, you have a fondness for it because there's a lot of little kids in the movie and you relate to them.
Yes. And then Beauty and the Beast came out in 91.
Very good movie.
Which I love. That is on my Disney Plus list to introduce Calvin, but we haven't watched it yet. We've been watching 101 Dalmatians,
Which one?
the animated one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm like, how many old Disney movies were about people kidnapping animals? Because it seems like a lot.
It's a little, or dead animals. It's really upsetting.
Yeah, I'm like, because 101 Dalmatians and Aristocats are both kind of like animals have been kidnapped or ditched somewhere. I don't. It's weird, but they're fine. It's just funny to me that these are like reoccurring themes that keep coming up in these old Disney movies, because The Rescuers is a little bit like that too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you want to hear about some of the songs from that time?
I do.
I probably mentioned them before, but who cares? If you're new to the show, this is all we can do for you. So it's 1991. We have Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Good Vibrations.
I still love that song.
Good song. Paula Abdul, Rush, Rush.
I still love that song, and it had very hunky Keanu Reeves in the music video.
Boys to Men, Motown Philly.
I love that song too.
Such a good song. Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up.
I want to sex you up.
REM, Losing My Religion.
Oh my, you couldn't get away from that song.
That song, oh my God, it was everywhere. I was just thinking the other day, I miss REM. I'm sad that they don't put out music anymore. Yeah, they were good.
Me too. I loved seeing REM in concert, and I always enjoyed all their albums. And that song made them very popular.
Yeah. Naughty by Nature, OPP. Yeah, song, you know me.
That song is dope.
It's very dope.
I love that song.
And finally, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That song changed everything.
It certainly did.
Like before that, it was all like, she's my cherry pie.
Yeah.
And then that came out. And
in case you're wondering, if you're young and you're wondering, and if you think it's all hype about Nirvana, it's not. They literally, it went from hair metal ballads and anthem songs to like really good music.
Yeah. It was, boy, that year.
Yeah.
Everywhere you went, like every car I rode in with like a friend was playing that album.
It for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then it's the next one. Yeah. There was that and Pearl Jam, and there's, oh my God, Soundgarden.
Yep.
Oh God, I could all that stuff for me. Yeah.
The singles soundtrack.
Yup. We should do singles one day.
We should definitely do singles. I think it's on our list. We should do it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What else are you dorking out about?
If you could see me, I have bags under my eyes because I was up really late watching Cheer on Netflix.
What is that?
It's a cheerleading reality show. And it's about, I used to be, really old school. I'm very old, but when I was in the early 90s, I worked at a store. We talked about the store, I think, but we sold aerobic gear and dance gear. Mm-hmm. And we would play videos of like Jane Fonda videos and Richard Simmons. Like we sold workout videos. We just played videos, and we were so sick of them. You get really tired of them after a while. So what I used to do is I would record ESPN, and they did aerobics championships, and they had cheerleading championships and dance teams. And in the daytime, they would play these championships. And so I would record like 2 or 3 hours and put it up there. And I got really into cheerleading and, basket talks and shit like that. Anyway, so this is about, they're following a school. It's a junior college it's pronounced Navarro, Texas. I always thought it was Navarro. It's Navarro. Huh. It's 30 minutes south of Dallas. And they won in the last 15 years, they've won like 10 times.
Oh my gosh. This is very interesting. I might want to watch this.
And you see these routines, these kids, and it's half men and half girls. Yeah. It's not just all girls. They have a lot more guys there because they do. The big thing is the basket talks and making these pyramids. Mm-hmm. And these pyramids get super duper complicated. And it's about these kids. Like a lot of them come from really rough homes, and they're competing to be in here. It's not about Friday night gigs, like playing the game or Saturday afternoon game, whatever. It's like they're doing this to go to the championship in Daytona Beach. You have 2 minutes, 50 seconds to put on a routine, then you have to go. And anybody screws up, you're out. And it's the most intense pressure you can ever possibly imagine. And one woman keeps saying, there's nowhere to go with this. You don't become a professional cheerleader. Like, because
Right.
it's not like the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders or the 49ers Gold Rush. It's nothing like that.
Yes.
It's all acrobatics. It's no dance. It's all acrobatics. And these kids are getting hurt left and right.
Aw.
You see a girl break her arm.
Oh.
I mean, you hear it. And at first, somebody like me that broke her ankle last year, it was
Yeah.
a little, it's a little triggering.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's just all these kids, but they all have to work together to be a team. The woman that runs it, so it's fascinating because these kids come from all over the country just to compete here.
Wow.
It's fast for junior college. And they have this, there's one episode, it's the first episode. They have a teacher whose job it is to welcome the kids by giving them, basically Texas 411. And she's like, what do y'all think of when you think of Texas? And one kid goes, guns. She goes, yep, we all have guns. I've got a gun. I'm packing all the time. And then somebody else yells, pro-life. Yes, indeed. We're pro-life. Says this. We're pro-life. And then she goes, and we just believe, you go to church every Sunday and a man marries a woman and you have 2.5 kids.
I would turn around and run away.
And the look on these kids' faces, because they come from like Chicago.
Yeah.
They come from all over the country. And then all of a sudden she says this. And by the way, our main cuisine here is called Tex-Mex.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of Mexican food, but way better than Mexican food, which is, there's nothing better than Mexican food.
Come on.
Bitch. Don't even.
That's ridiculous.
But the rest of the team, it's just this microcosm of these people, and they're fighting. And then one girl joins the squad, and she's an Instagram influencer, and she was homeschooled all these years. And she joins the school's team to help them into the championships. And she has a weird relationship with her parents. It's fascinating.
Oh my gosh.
And there's
I'm gonna
kids
watch
that
this.
you're going to watch the shit out of it. Trust me, because you're going to there's a couple of kids you so root for them because they're coming just from such hard backgrounds and they're finding themselves just because they're finding their purpose, like what it is to be, working at your best, like, what it takes to achieve something. Yeah. And it's really, really heartwarming. It's really sad sometimes. I wish that they did make the Tex-Mex comment. I mean, there's something, you see a girl in the class who's definitely looks Mexican-American and she's giving her a look like, bitch, please.
Yeah, bitch, please.
Please. But anyway, it's like 6 episodes on Netflix and they're like 45 minutes a piece. And I just couldn't stop watching it. It was so good. Really good.
Watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, I think you will.
I think when people think cheerleading, they think like just silly, like popular, I'm a cheerleader, or
right.
How funky is your chicken? How funky,
How loose
is your goose? They think of that shit. They're athletes. These people are athletes. It's super athletic.
Yeah.
I think Bring It On touches on it a little bit. Like,
yeah, but that the kids say here, they're like, if you think you know us because of Bring It On, you don't know us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are super athletic and they're super strong and what they're doing is super difficult and I'm in.
And dangerous.
And dangerous. I will watch the shit out of that.
But it's fascinating. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, you're just like, oh, these poor kids. And they're doing it just for 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with it. You can't get a job with it, really. I mean,
yeah.
Do you have to just go to another college and maybe be on their cheerleading team? But anyway, I just found it, like I said, because like 30 years ago, I would watch these things on ESPN and it's the game is way higher now. Well, it's really interesting.
As someone who recently took her first ever dance class, I have a new respect for anyone who could do any kind of choreography.
Absolutely.
Because I suck at that stuff. But it was fun. So I got to see Little Women in the movie theater.
Ooh, what'd you think?
I loved it. It's directed by Greta Gerwig, sorry. And it's pretty different actually. So I haven't seen it. Let me go back a little bit. There is like a Little Women movie for like every generation. I think.
Yes.
Like they've made like a silent Little Women. There's one from like the 30s. There's one in the 40s. There's one in 94 that came out. That's really great. I love the one from 94 with Winona Ryder and Kirsten Dunst is in it and Christian Bale. It's super great. The new one is told not chronologically, which is very strange. It like kind of, it'll show you things from the past and then catch you up to show like how they kind of relate a little better, like actions of the past, things with the future, or not future because it's all set in the past, but you know what I mean. It's really good. It's really entertaining. It feels modern, but it's not because it's set in the past, but like the
Right.
performances feel a little bit more modern, I guess. I'm trying to remember everybody who's in it. Timothy Chalamet is in it.
Mm-hmm.
Francis Puig from, not Francis, Florence Puig
Pugh?
from Pew. Thank you. See, I need to write down the names. I'm so sorry, you guys. She was in Midsummer.
Yeah,
last
that's what I
year,
heard.
and she's super great in this too. The lead from Lady Bird with the name that I know.
Saoirse Ronan.
Thank you. You knew I wouldn't pronounce it right. I wouldn't even be remotely close. Oh, and Emma Watson from Harry Potter.
Emma Watson, and then also Bob Odenkirk, right?
Yeah, Bob Odenkirk plays the dad.
A cameo.
Laura Dern is in it as their mother. It's just really good. It was a very good movie. The crowd, I saw it at the Alamo. It was full. Everybody seemed very invested. Everyone loved it. It's surprisingly funny. It's very sweet. Yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. It's really well done. It's kind of, I know that the Directors Guild nominations came out and she wasn't nominated, and that seems like a huge mistake because this is very well done. I really liked it. So see Little Women in the theater if you can.
I'll definitely see it. It's on my list. I definitely want to check it out.
I really wanted to see Parasite. That it was the one that was kind of on my list for this week, but it's gone. I missed it. It's already out of the theater here. So I think that means it's going to be streaming really soon. So hopefully I'll get a chance to see that one soon because the Oscar nominations are coming. And actually, I think by the time you're listening to this, they'll be out because I think they're on Monday, right? The Oscar nominations. And then I'll start trying to watch all these Oscar movies, but not all of them.
So
because
so
I won't
I
be seeing Joker.
I don't know if I'm going. I'm going back and forth on Joker. I don't know if it's like $4.99 before the ceremony, and I'm not in a bad mood. Maybe I'll check it out. My friend Erin super loved it, and she doesn't like any of those movies.
Yeah,
any of the.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's just. It's not like
it just seems really dark to me, and I'm not in the mood for dark.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all it is. Like, I don't want people to think like, oh, Sonia's making some sort of political statement. She's such an asshole. That's not it. Like, I just don't think it's for me. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I watch the preview, I'm not going to like it. So it's hard for me to like work up the muster to watch it when I know it's not for me.
Right.
I was like, my movie time is valuable. I'm like, I've got a kid and job and other shit I want to do.
Right.
I don't want to spend like 2.5 hours watching a movie that I don't think is for me. It's really hard for me to make that happen. So I don't think Joker's going to happen for me. But Little Women did, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
On social media, you can find me at Brooklyn Fitchick. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And you can find both of us at What a Creep, where we talk about creeps every week. And that podcast is taken off, and it's really fun. And it has a Patreon page. So you should listen. You should follow us on all the places. You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter. And you can find Dorking Out wherever you listen to your podcasts, and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and dorkingout.com. Thanks for talking about Dead Again with me. This was super fun as always.
And Sonia, I don't even know what to say. I forgot the thing you're supposed to say. Oh, this is for you.
These are for you.
These are for you.
These are for you. Can we just say it a bunch of different ways? Hey, Margo, these are for you.
Sonia, these are for you?